questions. Questions that rarely have answers. And all they do is increase the uncertainty. How much does luck have to do in all this? But actually, in a second, everything can change. Is it true when they say that if a door is closed, a window opens? Who am I?
Hello everyone! So for today, I will be asking some students few questions that are related to the subject understanding the self. So let's start. Alright, and for the first student that I will be calling on is Miss Patricia Esguerra. And the question is, how can you relate yourself about philosophical perspective of being who you are as an individual?
If I'm going to relate myself about philosophical perspective, I would say that sometimes I tend to ask myself, those questions keep running in my mind, like how do I know myself, who I am, and what I want to be in the future. And as time passes by, I've learned that as individuals, we have our own perspective, beliefs, and goals towards life in the future. That happiness motivates us to achieve our goals as well to know who we really are. Like Socrates' quote, the importance of knowing oneself. Because once we know ourselves, we found ourselves as a whole. We know our worth, we know what we want, and we found our happiness. We found our happiness and satisfaction in a simple way. Just like how Plato believed that our action will be the result of our future. And yes, it's true. Because once we found ourselves, no doubts, no regrets, or negativity will fall us apart. Because we know ourselves, worth, and capabilities. Like the critics always remind us, I think, therefore I am. So if we relate ourselves in a bright future surrounded by positive action and positive people, we can be a good role model. Just always remember that our experience made us brave and bold. Always remember that our personality may be different, but those personality will lead us to know our uniqueness. Those philosophical perspectives mold us to understand ourselves as well, mold us to understand the aspect of knowing our worth.
Now for the next question, how well do you know yourself?
So how do I know myself? Sometimes we tend to ask ourselves failures, doubting ourselves, capabilities. And once we found ourselves, those doubts, regrets, failures will lead us to our uniqueness, will make us a better person and a brave one. Just always remember that knowing oneself is very important thing for us to be a better person, for us to interact with others with willingness, passionate, and perseverance and humbleness, because we tend to know ourselves and our worth in the community.
Alright, so thank you so much. Now for the next student, may I please call on Miss Xyryl Aquino. And your question is, how do you manage the criticism or judgment of other people?
How I handle criticism or judgment by other people, I think by simply choosing what matters the most. And I believe that everyone has something to say. You just have to pick or choose what matters the most or what's more important. And it's very helpful for me most of the time. In addition, their judgment doesn't define me and it defines themselves. So, more important here is you know yourself.
Alright, so Miss Aquino, how well do you know yourself?
How much I know myself, I think that there's no particular answer in that question because I'm in a stage wherein I still have to learn and explore a lot of things, and by that way it will help me to grow as individual. And I think knowing yourself is not about what is your likes and dislikes, but also you know how to choose your battle, you know how to deal with other people, you know how to deal with yourself. I think that's the definition of knowing yourself.
Okay, so thank you so much for that. Now let's have Mr. Gabriel Pascual. So Mr. Pascual, as an individual citizen of your country, what thought would you consider to strengthen our culture as well as our philosophy?
As an individual citizen of your country, What thought would you be considered to strengthen our culture as well as our philosophy? Let us begin our responsibility as individual citizens of our country by putting ourselves first. Simon Freud, as a Western thinker, believed that the self is the most important aspect of our psychological action and taught by combining symbolic belief, hard work, and wisdom. Because I believe that the starting point for everyone's success is themselves. And once you know who you are, everything else will fall into place. As a Filipino who lives in a society where interaction and socialization are essential, let us consider how helping others can strengthen both our culture and our personalities. If both Western and Eastern thought can be used as tools, we as individuals can help to create a better future for the youth and future generations. Because in the end, our hard work, passion, and humility will be our luck.
Mm-hmm. So, how well do you know yourself?
Well, about myself, how much do I know myself? How much do you know yourself? Well, I'm not sure where to begin, but here are some things I've discovered about myself. First and foremost, I believe in myself, my feelings, my actions, and my abilities. I am pleased with my personalities. I know myself better than anyone else, including my family and friends. I am aware of my capabilities and limitations. I act in accordance with my ability and free will. If I do something, I do it as well as I can. I believe in myself and refuse to let others judge me based on what they see in me. When others tell me I can't do it, I push myself to the limit, even harder to show them that I can. Then let them go. In the military, there is also a saying, the only easy day was yesterday.
Alright, so thank you so much, Mr. Pascual. Now for the next question, we will be having Miss Francine Macabulos. Okay, so Francine, what are the advantages of having self-esteem?
It can help a person live with a positive lifestyle and mindset. It also helps a person to be independent and become more mature. Also know how to be satisfied with themselves. It can also lead a person to a positive thinking about their body, like being confident in what they wear.
And now for a common question, how well do you know yourself?
I know myself better than I expected. I know my limitations and capabilities, like doing my best in something that I do. I know I can do better in my studies and achievements.
Alright, so moving on, may you please have Miss Myka Jen De Vero. And the question is, what is the most important part of the material self?
For me, the most important part of our material self is the body, because we cannot live without it. It defines me as a person, how I value my body, whether I am careless or I take good care of it. We seek to ensure that this body function well and good, because we do not want our body to get sick.
Proceeding to the next question, how well do you know yourself?
I am who I am. Nobody knows me as I do. As I was learning and growing, I discovered a part of myself that was to accept criticisms and suggestions. It allows me to accept my mistakes, examine them, and weigh things in order for us to take appropriate action. We know a little about ourselves, but much of it comes through experience and discovery as we grow older.
Great, so for the next student, we will be having Mr. Carlo Mojica. So, Mr. Carlo Mojica, how do you convince people to believe in facts and make a movement towards a good governance?
For me, that's a good question because, I think an effective way to correct people's, falsely held believes is to address them directly with facts or evidences. However, there are still a lot of people who don't want to observe new informations. They were stuck in an old way of thinking, or should we say, closed-minded. Though, misinformations are so rampant nowadays. And just like what happened to the most recent election that we've done, people or us were given a chance to put or elect people that could help this country, this society to have a good governance. Then look what happened. They still chose, to put those people that have a bad history in the government. People are so hard to convince. That's why I would suggest, researching, looking for facts, looking for evidences could help us, towards and not in just selecting those people, that could help this country or the society, but in our everyday life. That, choosing and not just believing on what you've heard to someone else. When you heard something, you must learn on how to search for it. If it's right, then you must believe it on it. When it's wrong, then you must look for, further information that could help you and to, persuade people as well. Not just believe, not just believe on what they have heard, and also on what you have researched.
All right, Mr. Carlo, let me ask you, how well do you know yourself?
Oh yes, hi. So I think I know myself all right. I know my name, I know where I live, I know what I like to do the most, and roughly what I'm good at. But I change all the time as I grew up. So if I come to know exactly everything there was to know about me, then I would not know everything about me, the next one. And for me, the hardest things to answer is how you feel about everything, and then why you feel that way. But I don't think anybody like knows me better than myself. So in short, I am the expert on me.
All right, so thanks so much for that. Now let's proceed to the last student. May we have Nicholo So Hiong. So Nico, what do you think are the characteristics of a good student should possess?
As a student, we need to understand that just barely passing on different subjects and graduating is not a recipe for success, especially if you want to achieve your dream job or just being successful in the working world. I always believe that education is a key to a successful life. In my opinion, students always have to prepare before going to school. Use different resources. In this modern world, gaining knowledge is just at the tip of our fingers. But be critical on what you are reading. Make learning personal as if it is your hobby. Always ask for help. Learning is versatile. We can share and gain knowledge from other people. And lastly, make learning fun. Engage in different educational activities.
And for our last and most important question, how well do you know yourself?
As a person grows and matures, one thing is inevitable: goals. Changes will always be present with everything that we do. That's why as long as I'm happy and I am not bothering anyone with my goals and happiness, it is enough for me to say that I know who I am. I know myself, I know what I want, and I know what I am going to be.
Okay, so thank you so much. I think if I were to be asked the same question, I think it's easy to say that you know yourself. That is in my opinion. However, time changes as well as our situations in life. And for us, we know the future is very unpredictable. For an instance, we sometimes face challenges that we thought we cannot handle, but as you go and you have passed through that challenge, you will slowly realize that you have discovered new things about yourself. Like how you were capable to handle that certain situation in your life without having anyone's help or without giving up. So I think there's a big difference between knowing who you are to slowly understanding what you are.
And as a nursing student and a future medical allied, it is important for us to ensure that we are always improving when it comes to learning and studying. Because years from now, we will be somebody's miracle and hope by saving their loved one's life. This is Group 3 from BSN-5. Thank you and have a great day.